Hey guys, Jeff Barber here again for RC Universe, and today we're going to be looking at the new Graupner MZ12 Pro. Now, normally anything from Graupner, if it says like this, in this case the MZ12 would be a 6-channel radio, but this one's gone a little bit above and beyond that. The MZ12 Pro is actually a 12-channel radio. It's pretty cool. I can't wait to show you what's inside, so without any further ado, let's get the box down on the table and take a look and see what we got inside. So let's get the box open and see what we've got inside. Of course, you can see on the front here it's mode 2 and good for airplanes, helicopters, drones, boats, and cars. It's a pretty good radio for what you get. I mean, it's $199. You know, you got a lot of radio here for that kind of price. So opening the box. Inside, that out of the way, we have a manual for the receiver and a manual for the transmitter. Now this is just a basic manual that kind of goes over the different functions and what it does and what it doesn't do. There's more in-depth a more in-depth manual online available. You know, a lot of these computer radios get so complicated with programming and whatnot that it would be very expensive to publish a giant manual and put it with every radio. So again, part 1 of the manual, part 2 is available online. Alright, you guys ready for the moment? Here we go. Oh, what do you get? What do you get? Got a very nice looking transmitter. Get the styrofoam beads off of it. And what do we have here? We have a nice red faceplate and power switch. Nice case, got a little bit of grip on the back. We have a 1-cell lithium polymer battery included, 1500 milliamp hours, so it's a nice size battery. You got your USB data port there, or USB port there, a data port, and a DSC. DSC would be if you wanted to use it in a simulator function. Here on the front you've got 4 directional switches for moving about in the menus. This side here you got a telemetry, view, enter, and escape buttons so that you can move and select within the menu. 2 sticks, aluminum sticks. They are adjustable. That's kind of a nice feature. I'll get that out of the way a little bit. Switches feel good. The dial's got some friction to it so it doesn't just rotate freely. Nice aluminum knob on the dial, so that's kind of cool. Digital trims are nice, they feel good. And I did some reading on this transmitter. This faceplate, the red part that you see here, is actually replaceable. They've got different colors available online, so you can change that out if somebody else at your field's got the same transmitter. And you'll notice there's no antenna. The antenna is actually internal in the handle, so you don't have to worry about breaking that unless you really do some damage and break the handle, but you're probably going to try really hard not to do that. So overall, I think that the transmitter looks nice. It feels good. It's got a good grip in the hand. It's got some nice features and feels good. So we're going to move on, see what else is in the box. Okay, back to this. We've got the Graupner Falcon 12 6-channel receiver. Tiny little guy. Kind of a nice color, matches the faceplate on the transmitter. Single antenna and end pins, which means it'll fit in a smaller place than if the pins were sticking out the top. Multi-use USB cord. This is going to be for downloading any software updates that you might have, as well as charging the battery. Let's see. Yeah, cool. Got a couple of pads here, double-sided tape for mounting your receiver, and of course a warranty card. Now you'll see I have written on here MZ12 Pro. That's because I've got a couple of different radios and warranty cards from Graupner. So I like to keep them all separate so I know which one goes with which. So, pretty cool. That's what's in the box. So again, we have the transmitter, charging cord, your receiver, a couple of receiver adhesive mounting pads, and your warranty card. Now, remember again, this is a 12-channel radio. 12 channels, and you can get this for $199 through Graupner USA. That's an awful lot of radio for 199 bucks, if I do say so myself. You'll see I've got the MZ12 Pro sitting right next to the MZ24 Pro, and there's a little bit of a size difference, but man, these radios sure look good. The 24, of course, has a lot more options on it, but it's also a much more expensive radio. So for what you get for $199 with the MZ12 Pro, I think it's definitely a good deal. Here we've got the basic transmitter, and you're looking at it and you're saying, now wait a minute, Jeff, you said this was a 12-channel radio, but I'm only counting enough switches and dials and whatnot for 10 different functions. Now, you are correct. There's not enough switches to put every channel on its own switch. But let's be honest with ourselves. How often do we actually put every channel that we're using on its own switch? We don't. We're going to combine channels. We're going to put ailerons on channels, say 1 and 6, or we're going to put flaps on channels 5 and 7. We're going to mix those two together in the transmitter, so we're using 2 channels, but we're only going to use them on one function of the transmitter. So, you know what? No, there's not enough switches to put everything on its own channel, but again, being realistic, that's really not a problem. Now, one of the nice things you'll notice, there's no external antenna here, something that you're not going to be able to break off. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to turn the transmitter on, and it's got a backlit display. First thing it's going to do is it's going to ask you if you want the RF or radio frequency on or off. For this demonstration, I'm going to turn it off. That way it quits beeping at us. If you don't do that, it's just going to set an alarm and you're not going to be able to do any of the functions in the transmitter. So, basic display. It's not very big, but it gets the job done. We've got our model number, which is model 1. Right now I've got it set on the Husky EP. It's showing me the internal or the transmitter battery voltage at 4 volts. Now, this has a 1-cell 1500 milliamp LiPo battery. You've got your USB port here. This is for updating software. You've got a data port and your DSC, so if you want to use it for a simulator, you can do that. Again, 1S lithium polymer battery is included with the transmitter. Flip it back over, and you can see we got the voltage. The time is how long the transmitter itself has been on. We've got some timers over here, and up in this box up here we've got some telemetry options. Now, right now it shows 0.0 volts in the telemetry because I don't have it connected to a receiver. So getting into the menus, model memory, your M type or phase. Now that's for different phases during flight, takeoff, landing. Some people use it. I prefer not to. We've got servo setting, and that's where you're going to set up your servos. Reverse, center, plus and minus travel for sub trim. We've got continued setting for servos. Got your dual rate and expo functions, radio frequency settings, and some curves and wing mixes. Free mix, basic settings. That's going to go over transmitter settings. Fail-safe functions, trainer functions, voice switches. As I had said earlier, you can set up the switches with voice settings or voice commands so you can hear what they're saying without actually looking at your transmitter. and then info, and that's just going to give you your firmware, default, your RFID, and of course a Graupner logo. So basic functions, there's a lot of different functions available in this transmitter, and you know, for 199 bucks you're really getting a lot of transmitter for the money. One other thing that's kind of neat is Graupner made this red faceplate here. It is removable, and they have different color options, so you know, if someone else at your field has the same radio, you can change it so that you know yours from theirs, or if you just want a custom look, you can do that too. Getting into some of the menu functions again, voice switch, I've got them set up. I've got low rates, high rates,
low rates.
I've got the flaps,
Flaps landing, flaps up.
and one of these, let's see, which one is it?
Student
And teachers. So if I was training somebody with another Graupner radio, you can do a wireless buddy box.
Student, teacher.
Just like that, you can set them up with that. So it's a pretty neat option. Trainer options, you can basically set up what channels the student has available to them. So if you don't want them to be able to use rudder, you can turn that off. You want aileron and elevator only, or throttle, whatever you want, you can set that up here. Failsafe options, you can select where you want your switches and your channels to be held in the event that the receiver loses connection with your transmitter. Basic settings, battery warning again, that's going to give you low voltage battery warning on the transmitter. Button sense, contrast, display, and your radio frequency country. Of course, I'm in America, but we can change that for general. I want to leave it in America. Free mix is basically any programming of any mix that you want to do that would be outside of what's already programmed in the transmitter. And there's a lot of things you can do there. We'll go to the wing mix. You can do aileron to rudder, brake to elevator. Say in a sailplane you might want to do that, so when you deploy your air brake you add in some elevator or down elevator so that it doesn't float away on you, whatever. You can do a lot of different things with that. Curve, that's going to be channel 1 curve. You can set that up however you'd like. Basically a throttle curve on that one. Get back to where we were here. Radio frequency. Stick mode, we've got it in, I've got mine in mode 2, a timer, receiver out, receiver bind range test at 99 seconds, and RF transmitter is off right now. Dual rate and expo. We can set the aileron, elevator, and rudder, exponential, and dual rates in this screen. Kind of a neat option. Of course, you know, a lot of transmitters are coming with that now, computer radio, so that it's easier to set up your models rather than trying to change the mechanical functions on the servo end or the control horn end. You can set them up in the transmitter. Continued settings and servo settings again are just the different channels that you can set up. All the way through 12 there. 12 different channels. And M type again, that's your phase, model type, phase setting, and phase trim. That's going to be options for like taking off. You might have the elevator set at a certain control throw and dual rate. You can actually set different control throws, dual rates, depending on the type of phase that you're in. And phases might be landing, takeoff, cruise, or you know, just sport flying. Depending, you can actually set your model up to do a lot of different things depending on where you've got where you are in the phase settings. And of course, again, model memory. You know, you've got your model number, your model name. You can clear the model. You can actually copy the model from one slot to another. So a lot of different options there. You got a download, and that's basically your functions within the menu. Now we'll get out of there. We got some telemetry settings. You got setting and data view, sensors, RF status view, voice trigger, RX data on, and alarm setting. So we'll go into setting and data view. Well, of course we can't do anything right now because we're not connected to a telemetry unit. But lots of different things. I bet it's going to do the same thing here. Yep, we can't do that. But there's different sensors that you can hook up. Graupner has speed controls that have telemetry options. They've got voltage meters. They've got all sorts of different sensors, and those are all available at GraupnerUSA.com. Take a look and see what you like, and add them to your airplane or your boat, car, drone, whatever you want, and give you some more telemetry functions. So it's a pretty neat option. So that's basically your transmitter. It's a nice size, a nice fit. It's a little bit smaller in the hand than some of the other Graupner transmitters, but it's definitely a comfortable fit. It does come with adjustable sticks, the knobs and the switches. I mean, this knob, it's just a nice feel. The buttons are crisp, easy to push. The display is very easy to read, and it's just a nice overall radio. So that's going to be your basic introduction to the radio, and we'll move on to some different stuff and looking at the receiver, the Falcon 12 receiver that comes with the radio. And I've got that installed in an aircraft, so I'll get that on the table next. As you can see here, we're using the new Graupner Falcon 12 6-channel receiver in also Graupner's new Aviat Husky EP airframe. Now this is a great airframe. It's got a lot of cool features on it. You got flaps and ailerons, and of course throttle, and we've got skis and floats available. It's a pretty neat airframe that you can fly year-round. There's something for everyone and every season. But back to the receiver. You'll see that I've got every one of the channels full because the Graupner Husky has lights on it as well, so all of the channels are used up here. Now, being that this is a 12-channel radio, if we wanted to add more channels for something else on this aircraft, it does have a tow release, so we could add another channel. But since we don't have one available, we can actually add a second receiver and bind or link a second receiver to the transmitter on and use the two together. So it's a pretty cool feature. What I'm going to do is I'm going to button this up. I'm going to put that receiver back in place, and I'm going to show you just a little bit of the transmitter and the receiver in action. So bear with me, I'll be right back. I've set up the Husky so that you can see what happens. I've got my basic 4 channels. We've got elevator, got ailerons, got rudder, and of course throttle. Now, in addition, we've got the dual rates, and the nice thing about the dual rates, you can assign a voice command to them so that when you're flying, you don't necessarily have to look to make sure that you've got a switch in the position you want. So, for my dual rates, I've got it set up on low rates right now, but when I flip to high rates, the transmitter tells me that we're on high rates. Again, if I switch back to low rates, it tells me we're on low rates. Same thing with my flaps. I set it up so that when I pull my flap switch, it tells me that the flaps are in the landing position. When I flip it back, it tells me the flaps are up. So it's really a nice feature because it tells me what exactly is going on, and I don't necessarily have to look at the transmitter to make sure that I've done what I really wanted to do. So again, we've got your basic 4-channel functions. And then we've got the dual rate switch, and of course the flaps. So we've got some really neat features there as well. Well, there you have it. The latest and greatest from Graupner at the moment. I've heard there's something else coming around the bend here pretty quick, but for now, this is the newest, and it's bound to be a hit at $199. There's not too many 12-channel radios on the market in that price range, so take a look at it. You can find it online at GraupnerUSA.com, and you can take a look at this complete review on RCUNIVERSE.COM. It'll be in the magazine section, and thanks for tuning in and taking a look at my video, and we'll see you next time.